So this was from a few days ago, but I wanted to go out there and cover it in a video because this is a great idea. Let's head over onto rg.org. Responsible Gambling, which is a website all dedicated to how to responsibly gamble on the NHL. Yeah, it's a very interesting website. Take a look at their articles here. How to bet responsibly on the NHL. NHL betting tips for successful wagering, NHL Stanley Cup odds, mastering the puck line betting, top strategies. It's very weird, right? Honestly, I don't bet at all. So this kind of stuff, it's all foreign to me. I can understand, the idea or the soul of it, but, I can't really go out there and force myself to spend money on hockey games. But either way, this is a very strange article that popped up on this responsible gambling website, because this article we're going to be reading is not about gambling. It's actually just about the Canadiens. Report: the Montreal Canadiens are willing to weaponize their cap space again, even their LTIR space. And this is a piece published by, Marco D'Amico. Interesting. Maybe this is a Hockey Now cross post. Who really knows? But Marco D'Amico seems to be the writer here on this article. And what I wanted to do is go out there and read what exactly he says in regards to the Canadiens and why they are going to be weaponizing cap space. Now, if you don't know the terms here, weaponizing cap space pretty much means you will use the extra cap space that you have as a tool to gain an advantage over other teams. How will you do this? Well, you could go out there and acquire bad contracts. And if you acquire bad contracts, you will also acquire good, valuable assets. Teams will usually pay a pretty good penny to get rid of contracts that they find undesirable. Sean Monahan from the Calgary Flames to Montreal with the first attached to it was the biggest example of that. And Montreal could be going down a similar path heading into the next few years. Take a look at how D'Amico writes about this piece. The summer isn't over yet, and certain teams like the New York Islanders and Nashville Predators are right up against the salary cap without a full roster. However, the Montreal Canadiens have a secret weapon that no team in the NHL can leverage, and that is Carey Price's contract. Should GM Kent Hughes continue to pursue his options to bolster the Canadiens' top six, like Nikolai Ehlers or Patrik Laine, Price's contract could be of the utmost importance. Here's the trump card. Carey Price's $10.5 million contract is not set to expire for another 2 years, and it inhibits the Canadiens from truly maximizing their real cap space. Instead, the Canadiens have had to rely on putting Price's contract on the LTIR to make their financial structure work. But it's also allowed them to take advantage of other teams that don't have the same luxury. In 2022, the Canadiens were able to extract a first-round pick from the Flames to take on Monahan, while also being able to snag a second-round pick and other assets from the Penguins to take on 40% of Jeff Petry's salary in the summer of 2023. According to some within the NHL, the Canadiens are well-positioned for another one of these moves. Here is the quote: Montreal is sitting in a pretty enviable spot with their owner willing to not only spend to the cap, but surpass it if need be, said a well-placed source to rg.org. They may have $5.5 million in space, or whatever that number is, but being able to use Price's contract to give them another $10.5 mil opens up a world of possibilities. With moderate to big names like Ehlers, Zegras, Laine, and more still available on the market, and cap-strapped teams like Edmonton or New York needing to dump salary, the Canadiens are reportedly sniffing around. And so with this, you start to think about Kent Hughes, and you start to think about the smarts that are going on here in the Canadiens' room, and you say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day, eh? This actually is a really good plan, because $10.5 million for Carey Price, that contract is an albatross. And it sucks now because the guy doesn't play, so of course, you don't want to see your money being used for nothing, but used for nothing? Not necessarily. Carey Price is providing some value to the Canadiens by giving them that option of going into the LTIR room. However, I will say it will be more beneficial than not to actually have the Price contract expire soon, because for teams that have extended amounts of money that are on the LTIR or buyout penalties or whatever, it kind of inhibits you in a way because it forces you to continuously spend to the cap in order to activate those LTIR dollars. If not, then you're just going to kind of be hovering in limbo and you wouldn't be able to take full advantage of the money that you have available to spend. So for Carey Price, obviously it's not a good thing that he's not playing, but the contract that he does have provides a lot of opportunity for other teams to knock on Montreal's door and say, hey, we have a $6 million player here. We don't want him anymore. You want to take him? We'll give you 2 firsts for it, or something crazy like that. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but still, the idea is there, and even giving out some of the options as to what the Canadiens could do to bolster up their team, get the team closer to the salary cap ceiling, and then go into LTIR territory. They could be pulling off some Vegas Tampa Bay stuff if they really wanted to. $10.5 million is a lot of money. Here is the next part of the article. The Canadiens would only reportedly look to put Carey Price's contract on the LTIR if the offer they receive were too good to pass up, just like in years past. Montreal is calling to see if they can capitalize on certain clubs, but putting Carey Price on the LTIR comes with its own challenges, said another NHL source. Kent Hughes is looking to do something, but not at the expense of next summer or the coming years. And again, just as we had said, when you put Carey Price's contract on the LTIR, a few things need to happen before that. You need to already be at the spending limit in order to activate Price's LTIR money and get that room. If not, if you don't have another extra few players to take on salary cap space, you're allowed to just start out the season with Carey Price not as an LTIR contract. But that's $10.5 million that you're just going to have there doing nothing. So obviously the Canadiens, it would be in their best interest to find whatever it is that they could add on to their salary cap structure so that Carey Price's 10.5 would actually be used in a positive way. Let's scroll down here into the bottom of the article. The Montreal Canadiens can use all of their $10.5 million in potential LTIR space on top of the existing $5.5 million in cap space to make deals, but there are some drawbacks. The Canadiens cannot accrue cap space while using LTIR, meaning that their cap space doesn't grow as the season goes on, like other teams spending less than $88 million a season. What's worse, especially for a rebuilding team, is that all the earned performance bonuses from any of the many young players on the Canadiens would also slide over to the next year. That's exactly what happened to Canadiens hockey this year, with the carryover penalty of over $1 million bogging them down. It may not be exactly a big deal this year, but that money could be much more valuable next summer when the Canadiens look to spend to the cap. And that is something that we had talked about a few times as well, how the Canadiens did get a few penalties because the amount of bonuses they handed out to their younger guys was pretty extraordinary, which is obviously good. Like, you want to see players, young players especially, fulfill their potentials and get the bonuses and get extra money, etc., etc. You know, it motivates them to do better, right? When that number, that figure is in the background. But for Montreal, specifically, it did put them in a pretty rough spot because now they're getting a little bit of a penalty this upcoming season, and it's not really the most ideal situation, but still, you know, you have to go through some growing pains when you are a rebuilding team. So while Carey Price's $10.5 million contract is a big wild card here, and it is allowing the possibility to utilize some extra cap shenanigan mumbo-jumbo stuff to make things better for the Montreal Canadiens, there still are a little bit of safety precautions that need to be put into place too. Like, okay, if we get a player that we want to put on our team and put Price's contract on the LTIR, how much is that guy going to cost, and what's the magnitude of what we're going to be getting in exchange to get that guy? Like, there are a lot of extra hoops and hurdles to jump over here, but either way, the Canadiens are in a pretty good spot. I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Carey Price's contract still helping out the Montreal Canadiens, and what are your thoughts on what the Canadiens should do heading into the next few months here of the 2024 season? I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.